Did I see you writing a message to the Inquisition? What's that about?
You know, Varric and I were part of the Inquisition, right? I'm trying to get news about the South.
Word?
The Charter hasn't replied to any of my messages. I'm trying not to worry about what's happening there, but... No, it's probably fine. Charter's just busy. She's always busy.
Charter. Who's that?
She's the Inquisition's spy master. Well,
Oh, she took over for Liliana.
I guess now that the Inquisition answers to the Chantry, that makes her Divine Victoria's spy master.
I played in several of my playthroughs. Sorry, drinking water. In several of my playthroughs, I have essentially my main canon ideas, which are disbanded Inquisition made Cassandra divine, disbanded Inquisition made Liliana divine, or kept Inquisition under Chantry control and made either Vivienne or Cassandra divine. So I guess in this case I could... It didn't ask me who was Divine Victoria. I would technically say it's Cassandra. Maybe...
I haven't heard much about the
Sounds like
Inquisition in years.
Liliana's maybe functioning as Cassandra's left hand, who should be her main spy master, but then I guess Charter is like the spy master specifically functioning Inquisition style.
We're a smaller force working underground to keep an eye on things going on in the world.
Oh, underground. What does she want?
Does your spy master expect something from us? I don't work for the Inquisition.
Yes, yeah, I don't work
I
for the
know that,
Inquisition,
and
okay? I
Charter
want to make
knows
that clear.
that.
Oh,
But there are
good.
still people in the organization invested in knowing how things are going. With Solus, especially.
So how long were you with the Inquisition? 10 years?
Something like that. Why?
You must know the Inquisitor.
Well, yeah, we worked together. I wasn't part of the Inquisitor's inner circle, though. I spent more time with the ordinary people, the ones you didn't hear about.
When in Inquisition, I flirted with Harding whenever I saw her as Inquisitor. And if you, apparently, I accomplished this. If you flirt with Harding and not commit to a relationship to a certain point, then, or like, if you don't commit to a relationship and you keep flirting with Harding, and then keep talking to her every time she shows up at Skyhold, you'll get unique dialogue from her. And what I got was, it's not that unique, but like the next time I greeted her, I'm like, "Hey, Harding," and she's like, "I thought Skyhold was a little brighter." And she kind of like low-key flirts with you, and then she's like, and then her tone changes where it's like, you know, it's not gonna go anywhere, but I couldn't help but flirt back a little because I appreciate you, or like I like your flirting. And then I committed to romancing someone, but it was cool. It's like, because usually when I greet her, she's like, "Hey," or "What's up?" And then randomly she's like, "I thought Skyhold was a little brighter." I was like, ooh. But I guess I can understand she's like, I wasn't part of the inner circle because I saw her whenever I did, like our paths crossed or she introduced me to a new region I unlocked. But otherwise, I was constantly either fighting alongside Cassandra or I was fulfilling war table missions with Josephine Cullen and Liliana helping me. So... I understand.
But you did know people from the Inquisitor's inner circle, didn't you?
I knew them, sure, but those early days, all I wanted was to prove myself and not get in anyone's way.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were more approachable than others.
That's true.
Sarah was a puppy with a new toy.
Sarah mentioned! I'm surprised!
If you can handle the mess. She was really the only one who could make Rainier, well, Blackwall then,
Tom.
let down his guard.
I love
Otherwise,
Tom.
he kept to himself and stuck to the stables. We'd talk when I visited the horses.
Aww.
And there was Noah, of course.
The spirit boy?
Yep. I was just sitting
Varric's
on the walls
son.
one day,
Varric and Solus's
he
son.
asked if he could join my game.
Like a card game?
Nah, just good old people watching. Must have seemed like a game to him somehow. We'd pick strangers out of the crowd and try to say something about them.
I love Blackwall.
"Ooh, she heard the joke yesterday and she's still trying not to laugh." Or one of Cole's. "His eyes remind her of the ones beneath her bed."
What? What does that mean? And creepy.
Okay, that's just a creepy thing to say.
Cole was like that. Weird, wonderful, and occasionally a little bit creepy.
Wasn't Cole an empath? He must have been great at this game.
Ah,
I don't
but
know the
rule
details
was
as
you
Rook.
couldn't say anything you actually knew.
Unless I guess
got it in
Varric
the
told
end.
me about his
I
custody of
So
Cole.
you didn't ask him if you guessed right?
Solus
being
lost
right
custody.
wasn't the point. Making a habit of seeing people was. I think he liked that.
It's why you don't miss.
Actually, hold on, I'm just getting water because I'm so thirsty.
And the Inquisitor's advisors? What about them?
Of all of them, I'd say Josephine is my favorite. She's lovely.
So lovely.
She still sends me a box of handmade
That's what
sweets
Harding
from
would say at
Valrio
Skyhold.
every year on my name day.
She's so lovely.
Cullen and I got along
About
too,
Josephine.
but he was always busy. He would have bad days from lyrium withdrawal sometimes, and I would share the tea that my ma sent. He's
Aww.
from Ferelden too. Maybe it reminded him of home.
Aww.
What about Liliana? I heard she's intense.
Yes.
I think she likes to cultivate that reputation. She's not
Yeah,
nearly as
Harding worked
terrifying as she
closely with
sounds.
Liliana.
Oh, I passed her in the Great Hall one day, and she suddenly turned and asked me if I wanted a nug.
Liliana loves nugs. She thinks they're cute.
Those small pink rodent things? What for?
She loved them and made a hobby of breeding them as pets.
Yeah.
So did you take the nut?
In Origins, you can gift
No.
Liliana a nug, and she's like,
What am I
I
gonna
love it!
do
And everyone
with
else
a
is like,
nug?
ew, that's a disgusting, ugly, wrinkled little creature. Why do you like that? And she's like, don't you see how cute they are? And everyone's like, Liliana, you're weird.
So, tell me about these ordinary Inquisition members I haven't heard about.
The Inquisition hired hundreds, and most of them weren't magisters or
AKA
Benhasserith
Dorian.
or the
AKA
left
the,
hand of the
the,
divine.
the Iron Bull.
There were scouts,
AKA
and
Liliana.
stabilimans, carpenters and cooks and quartermasters, even 2 dedicated pastry chefs. Most of them volunteered, like me. We wanted to help in whatever small way we could.
I'm curious about pastry chefs, but Iskari would remember the chaos.
I've heard stories about the rifts and the Grey Wardens being misled by Corypheus.
Nothing like demon-spitting sky holes to bring people together, huh? I made friends. Rector, Faulkner, others.
Rector? Faulkner?
Liliana gave all her agents pseudonyms.
Right. Like.
Why
Charter.
Rector?
Charter's Charter, but when the other 2 and I were together, we were just Lace, Wilbur, and Katya.
Oh, Katya. That's a nice
Do you miss
name
it?
inclusion.
The Inquisition, I mean.
It's hard to miss an organization. They're only as good as their people, don't you think? But I do miss my friends. We write
Aw.
each other, but it's not the same. And the Inquisition is different from what we've built here.
I almost feel bad for her.
Not better or worse.
She
just
Well, she
different.
volunteered, but she sort of
It's
got
special
plucked
when you're among
from
people
the
working toward the same goal.
southern
Not
Ferelden,
everyone. There
like,
was Solus.
farmlands.
What did you really think
And
of
now
him
her life is
back
so
then?
different from what anyone would
Lonely.
expect. It took a strange
He
trajectory.
always seemed lonely. It's hard not
Yeah.
to be when you hold yourself above everyone else.
Yeah, you know, in Inquisition, you feel this, like, especially as a Dalish talking to Solus about elves. Or actually Canary too, like, anything really. Solus, when he initially is racist and prejudiced, thinks he knows everything, you know, and it's subtle. Not everyone catches it, but you could tell, like, especially based on how you're playing. Like, if you play Canary, he's like, you know, and you build a good relationship with him. He's like, you know, you're not. This isn't the exact words, but he says basically something along the sentiment of, you're not like the brutes that the rest of your people are. And you feel so insulted. Or as Dalish elf, he's like, Dalish are so ignorant. They think that they know everything, but they're just children imitating stuff. And I'm like, that is a whole culture, sir. And you're just dismissing it. But if you build a good relationship with Solus over time in the game, eventually he acknowledges, he's like, I was so wrong. I thought, that I understood all races, but in truth, I was just dismissing and not trying to understand. And now I see that everyone, like, is a real person. They're all real people. And in Trespasser 2, there's this chilling line where he's like, it was like for him, he described waking up from his youth and era, and he's like, it was like walking in a world of tranquil. And then the Inquisitor can respond saying, you didn't see us as people? And he's just like, well, you changed my mind. But yes, that's how I originally thought. And he's frank. And you're like, ugh, it's just so chilling. It's like, that is how he saw everyone. And he is technically, among the Avenuris, the quote-unquote good guy. Because Mythal, sure, she tried to curb Elgernon's influence and the Avenuris' influence by taking charge so she could curb their evil behavior. But Solus was still the one who condemned slavery. Mythal didn't do anything. She just called Solus friend, and then she got killed. But still, like, if you Solus didn't condone slavery. He didn't condone it. I don't know the word, uncondoned. Like, if Mythal rejected slavery, then why would there be an Inquisition ancient elves like Abalas who bear Mythal's Valasleen, which is how nobles marked their slaves, and were like bound to her temple to protect the Vira Belasan, like not willingly. They didn't have a choice. That's essentially slavery. If Mythal shared Solus' sentiments of inalienable rights, then why would she condone slavery, or like slavery to an extent is okay sort of deal, I can spiritually hate it, but girl, I gotta do what I gotta do. And I'm just like, I don't like anyone, including Solus, but he is still the lesser evil. Sorry to anyone who likes Mythal, but I do not like her.
You mean it's hard not to be lonely when you're a pompous ass?
Something like that.
You can say it, Try it out. Solus is a pompous ass.
Maybe he is, but I can still feel sorry for him, can't I? Anyway, I'm sure something out there's on fire, and here I am rambling about the past. I should let you go. Talk later?
My throat hurts. New entries. Charter in Minrathous. A Minrathous paper with one item circled. Prices for lyrium may soon rise higher than the Archon's palace after recent negotiations with the Orzammar embassy broke down into fighting. A representative for the dwarves claimed that Tevinter negotiators were Venatori and suggested that their minds had been poisoned by red lyrium. Tevinter officials deny use of red lyrium and insist that it is not used in any official magical business. A note written in the margins. Lace. Francesca and I made things a little harder for the Venatori, and with lyrium tougher to come by and the red variant officially banned, I hope you're doing all right with your own lyrium-related issues. Stay safe. Charter. Charter in Marnus Pel. A paper from the Tevinter city of Marnus Pel with one item circled. Scandal struck the household of Magister Pomonius. As eldest son and heir, Sorokan has been found dead in what appears to have been a Venatori ritual gone awry. I thought it was Ori, but apparently it's awry. Rumors in the household speak of escaped slaves and stolen artifacts, and some are suggesting that the death was due to Venatori infighting. A visibly angry Magister Pomonius declared his son innocent of any wrongdoing and blamed elven thieves for the incident. A note written in the margins. Lace. Vea and I were in the neighborhood. The artifact is safe. Doesn't seem related to your work. Assume every noble Tevinter family not with the Shadow Dragons has Venatori pulling strings. That's so sad to hear. Really? Excuse me. Charter in Varantium. A paper from the Tevinter city of Varantium with one item circled. Fighting between Tevinter and Antam forces has calmed down, with Tevinter reclaiming a lost town after the Antam cannons mysteriously failed. The town is now safe, and former prisoners are being treated for their injuries. Sadly, several war mages were killed retaking the city, reporting victims of Antam assassins. A note written in the margins. Lace. Marius, Tessa, and I paid a visit. Venatori and Antam might be serving the same gods, but they're not knowingly working together, and are easy enough to turn on one another. Charter. I wonder if that's how Gillinan and Elgernon are keeping their forces in check. Like they're making them devoted to them and not united, because that way the Antam and Venatori don't get this idea like, hey, we work well together. We don't need the gods. So I wonder if that's how Elgernon and Gillinan are operating. Charter in Solus, a paper from the Tevinter city of Solus with one item circled. The Silent Festival will take place this year, after cancellations the last few years from concerns about Antam pushing east from Paravantium. Local organizers have confirmed that Navaran mages will be coming to help celebrate the lives of those recently lost with visions of the Fade. The festival will include feasting, dancing, and seances. Wow! As the veil is expected to be quite thin from the spiritual energies, minors with magical talent should not be left unattended. That's interesting. That's such a cool detail to include, minors. That's so cool. A note written in the margins. Lace, we investigated thoroughly. It really does appear to be a coincidence that the city shares a name with our mutual acquaintance. Seems like it should have some connection, but no. Had to be sure though. Charter. Letter to Charter. Charter, I'm assuming you got my last message about Varric. We're adjusting with Rook stepping up. We're still searching for answers on the elven gods we released. Solus remains contained and less of an immediate problem. How is the situation in the south? Has there been any activity related to the elven gods? What about the Antam? They seem entrenched in Antiva, though any increase in the number of scouts might signal them getting ready to move. I'm still receiving letters regularly from my ma, so I gather Ferelden is far enough away that trouble hasn't reached it yet. What about Orlais, or the Free Marches? Please respond as soon as you can. The usual channels remain open. Harding. I wonder if the content of that letter changes if you disband the Inquisition, because then it's not as connected, / it's like weaker. Because in the end of Trespasser, you can choose to disband the Inquisition or transfer its leadership or authority from yourself to the Chantry. And if you disband it, it's supposed to be that there's less likely chance that Solus' spies will infiltrate the Inquisition / Chantry. Mostly the Inquisition. Whereas if you maintain the Inquisition and transfer its leadership to the Chantry, it's insinuated that the South will be more stable. However, there's a high likelihood / risk that Solus's agents and network will take advantage of that. Like they'll infiltrate the Inquisition and then basically use the Inquisition's network or whatever to help Solus's agenda.
Carving monsters, huh? Didn't figure you for an artist.
This? It's by necessity. If you know your enemy, their weak spots, maybe you live another day.
Safe from tiny monsters. I don't want to diminish what he's saying. Because, I mean, technically it's true. Sun Tzu, know your enemy.
Well, when the army of miniature monsters invade, we'll know how to beat them.
Size is nothing. A Rygar can ruin your day with one bite. The poison swells your brain.
That could explain Solus.
Standard bestiaries are always some mage drawing things they've never seen, taking the piss out of it. They don't understand how when the hunt ends and you come nose to nose with an ogre, someone's going
His
to
shirt
die.
is
So
clinging to him for its life. It's like, I don't want to fall off of Davrin's chest. I'm holding on.
Balmor, that imbecile in Tevinter, lecturing on things he doesn't know about. And Ludric over in Rivain thinks taking a rock wraith down with a lucky shot makes him a champion.
I don't want to say who cares. Again, I don't want to diminish what Davrin is values, because he's he's still correct. The philosophy of knowing your enemy.
You'd think he'd know better. It's sculpting toy monsters that makes you a champion.
That's right. He never understood. You're a funny one.
I try.
I couldn't help it.
I'm sorry, I have like dad humor.
Maybe I'm taking this a little far. But if you say you're
Can you
an expert,
imagine?
show me some expertise.
Can you imagine like a flat, monotonous, like monotone Canary cracking jokes? It's like Sten, except Sten when he cracks a joke, it's more sarcastic. Like, how would you describe Canary, Sten? He's like, how would you describe any race, huh? Would you describe in just a couple words? The elves excel in poverty. Like, if I wanted to describe Canary, you're asking the wrong person. You should ask a priestess, because they know it thoroughly, you know. But can you imagine, like, if the voice actor, if they could record lines specifically as a Canary? It's like, yes, of course, making toys helps you, you know, tiny toys help you with the monsters, of course. Like, my delivery is horrible, but it's funny.
I like your passion.
If you're going to do something, be the best at it.
Is that just for work?
I agree.
or-
Canary philosophy.
In all things.
Noted. So where's the Gloom Howler in all this?
Can't carve it till I know what it is. You want a piece of the Howler, boy?
Is he ready?
It is still
Was I ready the first time
Small.
I fought a Hurlock?
Well, you're still alive.
I got my ass handed to me. Broke 4 ribs and cracked my jaw. Then I got back up and drove a blade through its
nice.
skull. In
Nice.
this line of work, Asan and I are only as strong as the quarry we hunt.
You learn by doing.
Makes sense. He'll learn to fight by fighting.
I don't know another way. Out there in the world, you sink or swim.
Yeah, very
Can
good.
a half lion, half eagle swim?
Don't know. Asan?
The Cune approves.
Which half was that?
Search me. Both halves share the same stomach.
Right. See you around.
I wonder if search me is the unbiased / censor term of F-word me. Like, I don't know. Screw me, I don't know. Oh, his little shelves with paper here. Diagrams of a nog. Why a nog? What's something more interesting? Whoa, what's on the ceiling? It's like standing in a museum. Except he's actually killed these things. What is that on the ceiling? Is it just a tailbone? Part of something bigger? Or is it supposed to be like a snake? Wow. This head looks like a... Oh, there's that note progression again that sounds like a Dragon Age 2 music. Ah. Although this skull, this head plate reminds me a little of Krogan's and Mass Effect. Is this where he sleeps? Oh, he has little... That's so cute. He has little Grey Warden quilting or whatever. Although for some reason he likes to sleep beneath the rib cage. I don't know how I feel about that. Does he feel comfortable like that? I mean, in his journal he wrote like how Weishaupt is basically like drafty and cold. Very Anderfell-y. Anderfelsen? I don't know what to call it. What's this? Driftwood? Ooh, a sculpture of an ogre! With someone killing it! You know what I miss? Like, I love the takedown animations because it reminds me of the Origins takedown animations. Although, unfortunately, the takedown animation is the same for all creatures, whereas in Origins, like, how you kill an ogre is different from how you kill a dragon. Actually, now that I think about it, there's no in Origins, there's no takedown animation for like normal darkspawn. So I guess there's a trade-off because you can only have takedown animation for ogres and dragons. And I haven't really fought a dragon yet. I've only fought Gilnenane's dragon, I guess. And I didn't kill it, so we'll see. Maybe there is a unique one, not sure. flower-covered grocery list. A list in Lucanus's handwriting. Spring onions. I love spring onions! Green cabbage. Short grain rice. Rice! They have rice! Vinegar. White for pickling. Vinegar. Dark for dipping with bread. Oh, I love good bread with olive oil and balsamic vinegar. Oh. And then cheese if I'm feeling bougie. Oh, so good. Coffee beans for Neb when she's back. Cinnamon, please. Belara. If it can be found, the Antam's navy takes its share from whatever trading ships pass through Treviso, Lucanus. So whichever part of the Antam that occupies Treviso, they at least have access to goods.
An underwater prison? That's still pretty amazing.
Amazing? I suppose it is. Do you think the elves made it? It didn't seem Tevinter.
I think so. I wonder what it was built for. Originally, I mean.
Whatever it was meant for, it's a pit of misery now.
Right.
Lucanus, you need to work on your social skills, sir. But I am interested, same question as Belara, because there was a statue of Mythal there that was crumbled, and I'm like, interesting. Do I have anything new here? Nope. Who else can I talk to before I talk to Taash? It's just Taash. Okay. Nev's still out.
Usually have to dodge traps and fight
Ooh, she's
spiders
taller
to
than
see
me.
This much old elven stuff. Talk to Isabella if you want to sell any of it. She'll get you a good deal.
Spoken like a veteran treasure hunter.
Yep, for gold and glory. The lords make runs no one else can. Isabella's undies would catch fire if she saw all this.
I don't know if I'm ready to sell anything, but you know what? Lucanus is on a long contract, so maybe I do need some funding, you know? I'm probably using like leftover funding from Varric and Harding's connection with the Inquisition to sustain ourselves, but fortunately we have free lodging with the lighthouse. We just need, you know, to buy groceries, essentially, and like weapon maintenance. But if we need to extend our, like, if our contract with Lucanus ends up having extra charges, you know, maybe I do need to sell something.
So why do the Lords of Fortune care enough about dragons to have a dedicated dragon hunter?
Lots of great old crap ends up in dragon hordes.
Why do dragons care about gathering treasure? It's not like they go to the market.
Dragons like metals and gems.
Why would I ask
Anything
that?
glittery catches their
It's not
eye.
like they go to the market.
So they're like
Excuse me.
really large magpies.
Unless I'm trying to be funny.
Kinda. And they live for centuries. Lots of time to gather a bunch of shiny crap. Plus all the gear carried by idiots who thought they could kill a dragon.
Bet you deal with a lot of nasty traps during those treasure hunts.
Yep.
What's the most complicated one you've dealt with?
Old elven armory. Had letters on tiles. Probably supposed to spell out the name of a god or something.
Probably.
I've been to an elven
I don't read
armory.
elven. Found handholds in the ceiling and swung across.
That's how I met Belara.
That sounds more like a puzzle than a trap.
Ugh. Puzzles.
As an Iskari, my job is, you know, Deep Road's ancient dwarven structures. Would I like puzzles? Do dwarves do puzzles? Peregrine Carradine did in Dragon Age Origins. You had to solve puzzles to locate him and the Anvil of the Void. Me. Do I like puzzles? Personally, in real life, I cheat. If I can, I'll cheat.
You've got the right idea.
Oh, she
Going
approves.
around the ceiling. Varric and I ran into an old elven puzzle once while hunting for Solus. There were these talking statues.
Riddles?
One only lied, one only told the truth, I think.
Oh,
Ugh.
that.
What'd you do?
Varric gave them an autographed copy of his book. Turns out he's really popular in the Fade.
Cool.
Nice.
No sticky fingers.
Glad to have a treasure hunter on the team. You're stealing stuff for us, not from
Yes,
us,
please steal
right?
stuff for us. I'm
Don't
worried
worry
about our
that.
bank
The Lords
account.
of Fortune aren't thieves.
About our funds.
I mean, aren't you, though?
Nah. Anything we hunt is salvage. Old forgotten ruins and crap. and we make sure we're not screwing over a culture that lost it. That's
Like
what my
Indiana
mother does with
Jones.
the Kunari stuff.
Is she a scholar?
So your mother appraises Kunari artifacts the Lords of Fortune find?
Yeah. She tells them how rare something is, how much it might be worth. Also tells them if they found something cultural.
Cultural?
You know, important. Stuff you don't want going to some rich noble's collection. The Lords send that stuff back to the Kunari in Parvalin. They pay the Lords a finder's fee.
I don't want to accuse of extortion, but I'm curious if there's corruption.
Just a finder's fee?
Yep.
But the Lords at the top could be charging anything for these artifacts and you wouldn't know.
I know what happened to the last Lord who bled a contact. That's
Lol.
enough. The Lords are good people. They helped my mother when she came here from Kontar. She
Oh.
got here with nothing but me and the clothes on her back. The
Oh.
only skill she had was Kunari history. The Lords
Interesting.
gave her work.
Maybe she does. Maybe she calls herself Shathan, but her true name is Tamasran. I'm a little curious about that.
How does the Ravani Royal Guard feel about the Lords of Fortune?
They used to complain about us, but that was before the Antam invaded Ravane.
Yeah,
And
when you were
now
14.
Ravane sees the benefits of having a bunch of heavily armed people on their side.
Same for the Pirate Armada. It's bigger than Ravane's official navy. But we're also helping save old artifacts. The Antam are burning ruins as they move south. We get artifacts out before the Antam destroy them. Magical stuff. Cultural stuff. Stuff you don't want to lose.
So Taash really did, like, at least since age 14, the Antam have been invading Ravane, or at least the broken Antam. And it's like, Taash really did grow up in an era that's pretty new for me as a Dragon Age player who has played since 930 Dragon. She really grew up in this era that's unique to, like, I'm learning about it and I'm being exposed to it for the first time through Veilguard. It's never been really covered in previous Dragon Age games, and I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's like since 14, she's been exposed to this unique situation in the Dragon Age, the era, the century, where Ravane has this positive relationship with the true Kunari, and then the Antam are invading and they're broken, so they're not actually fully supported by supply lines. They're not the true Kunari force. They're just like warlords, as it was said earlier, and then she's raised as a Ravani. So I don't know. That's just really fascinating. I can't wait to pick apart this, like her personality, her psyche, like the way she thinks. Because she seems, brainwashed is the wrong term. She just seems like not fully aware of how how Kunari think, and also like the Lords of Fortune. Apparently, it seems like Isabella leads them. I remember in Inquisition, when you talk to Varric, at the very start of Inquisition, you can ask Varric about the Dragon Age 2 companions. And you're like, hey, how's Isabella? And he's like, she's called Admiral now. I don't know if that means she wears a big hat or if she's in charge or both. And I saw Isabella. She was wearing a big hat. Good for her. But it seems like she doesn't lead a ship or an armada. The Felicia, happy armada, you know. Lucky armada, I don't know. She is leading the Lords of Fortune, so it seems like that's just so interesting, because Lords of Fortune obviously couldn't exist until after Isabella, or after Dragon Age 2. And then Taash grew up being raised as a Kunari, but also very Ravani. The way she speaks Kunlat has a very American accent, whereas you have past voice actors, the way they speak Kunari lines, there's a certain like cadence to it and confidence to it, which I think is an intentional direction towards the voice actors. So you can feel that Taash is very first gen Ravani, and also a treasure hunter with morals, because if you've ever played, you know, like ever watched or played anything like Uncharted or National Treasure, or even Indiana Jones, treasure hunters usually they are ready to backstab each other for the gold, you know. Whereas the Lords of Fortune have this code that follows morals. And I also felt that in Tevinter Knights, like, yeah, the treasure hunters, you can't predict them, but they at least have a moral code. They're not like purely rotten. So, okay, rest up.
Get some rest. We'll be in the thick of it soon enough.
Okay, I was
I'm
gonna go
charged.
back to Ravain later. Got a thing to do for my mother.
Oh,
You can
okay.
come along if you want.
I do want to
I need
meet
be
more
ready for
Canary.
combat? Or traps?
Nah.
Alright. Just let me know when.
Oh, new codex? Oops. I'll recruit the Fade Expert before I do anything else. Trap plans. Idea. Spinning blades at head height. 1. By mirror. Good. Blades good. Bad. Maybe won't kill blighted gods. Bad. Might kill us by accident. No. Idea. Pressure plate near exit of mirror room. Poison dart. Flames. Good. Reliable. Bad. Some of the stuff we're fighting floats. 2. Bad. Pressure plates get sticky and require maintenance. No. Idea. Door with wire attached to bucket on hook at ceiling. Bucket filled with those mushrooms Asan likes. They fall on target. Asan raises alarm and attacks/eats. Good. Teamwork. Bad. Davrin might be mad. Bad. Mushrooms stinky. 3. No. Note 1. For humans. 2. Ask Nev if floating stuff would still trigger pressure plate from magic pushing down. 3. Why do they smell like worms? Okay. Alright. There's a quest in, I think, Taash's room. Quest unlock in Taash's room. And then I'll go recruit the Fate Expert. Who is not Solus. I don't want Solus's influence. I gotta fact check him every time. Hey Taash! We've been trying to get supplies to the crows in Treviso, but the crows who were supposed to pick up the supplies here in Ravain never reported in. If you and your fancy new friends have the time, could you check it out? The drop point was over on the coast. For gold and glory, Isabella. Since I am not an army, but a small team, like a fire team, even though I'm saying, we need to save the world, no one's gonna help me unless... It's like, put on your oxygen mask first before you put on someone else's. So I'm doing that, but also, like, no one is going to help me if I help them with their oxygen mask. So that seems like to be the scenario here. I can't just command people, not like in Inquisition. And I don't have the special papers like the Wardens and Origins, where I have treaties where everyone agrees to help the Wardens.
Just tell me when you're ready.
And even in Origins, you still have to help people with their own personal problems before they help you. And I'm talking like country like Ferelden / Denerim. And then, you know, the dwarves in Orzammar. Anyway. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to Necropolis Halls. Okay. What is the bond level for my companions? 4, 3, 4, barely 4. Taash is 2. Okay, so Harding and Taash are low right now. Or was it Davrin is 3, Harding is barely 4. So Davrin and Taash are low right now. Travel to tracked quest. Oh, okay. Morn Watcher. I know it's supposed to be Emmerich. Oh, his hand like hit the light a little. Let's bring... I want to raise Davrin's bond, but Taash is at level 2 right now. But she has like 2 quests related to her, so it might raise her pretty well. I'll bring Davrin for now. I just really want to bring Davrin.